Don's getting caught up on his paper this morning. Apparently, I kept him a little too busy over the weekend.
It's all right, sweetheart.
And specifically, he was reading about an update on the electric hybrid car fees live on in Senate budget. Explain.
Yes, you might remember probably a month ago we talked about this. There was a Senate bill 446 in North Carolina, Senate Bill 446. They proposed raising the $130 annual registration fee on electric vehicles to $230, and then over a series of years all the way up to $275. That bill thankfully died in committee. However, the budget writers for the Senate budget wrote in or got an amendment put into the state budget for the $230 version of that. It doesn't include the step up, but it does include $230, raising it $100. And it also includes the provision for plug-in hybrids. It isn't just electric cars. Right now, if you have a Chevy Volt, you're on. Yeah, you're on cloud nine. And I love Chevy Volts with the V. What was the gentleman's name?
Dean.
Dean. Dean drives one, and Dean says that he's bought like 2 tanks of gas, or went to the gas station twice this year. So he's not buying very much gas, but because he's getting this all electric miles. In fact, he says he sort of makes gamification a little bit of how much electric mileage he can actually get
and not have to put
not put in gas. So he's doing great. What I'm trying to say is plug-in hybrids potentially could drive a lot of miles. They don't pay the $130 fee, the current fee, nor do they buy much gasoline, so they're really getting a good break. Well, they have a proposal that those types of cars now will have to pay a $115 fee, which is, I think, a little high. So anyway, it's in the bill, in the budget, and there are people who are pushing back. Some of the legislatures have looked at the NC Green Energy Technology Center, a state agency based at NC State University. They were the ones that I went to that seminar.
Sponsored that seminar.
That's right. Yeah. And they looked at the 11,645 electric vehicles, plus the state has an annual inspection, so they know how many miles, and they calculated that the average electric vehicle is paying using about $100 of gas take. So they're paying $130, and they're actually equivalent of $100 in gas tax. So they're actually already paying a $30.
Yeah, the thought process that electric vehicle owners aren't paying enough gas tax is actually false at this time.
At this time. So anyway, it's back.
Yeah, let's use some real math and some real numbers to determine.
Back.
Yeah.
Right. As I told Marianne, I said, now look, I haven't read, I've watched a lot of YouTubes. This gas tax thing has come up on podcasts before. I haven't heard of a good method to do that. It's legitimate that, electric cars use the roads. They ought to pay some tax. But then, of course, there's other advantages of electric cars. They're not doing the air pollution, so they're helping reduce health costs. As a gentleman on a YouTube pointed out, very good, this is something I had thought about. Even if your electricity is made by coal or natural gas or solar, all of the forms of electricity production in the United States are 100% American. They're not imported. We don't import natural gas to power electric plants. We don't import coal to power electric plants. We don't import anything to power. So at least when you buy that electricity,
you're still supporting America.
It goes to that monopoly electricity utility company, but it all stays here. But because you cannot say that, even with the great competition between oil companies, when you go to the service station and you buy your gasoline or your diesel, maybe some of that is American production, because we have certainly tried to increase all that, but we import millions of gallons barrels of oil every day from people who do not like us. So you're taking your hard-earned money, at least all the money, every cent I earned was very difficult to earn. I didn't have any easy money, and you're sending it to people who don't like you. So if you're buying, even if you're buying coal, at least you're paying for American coal miners to mine that coal. You're making a big American coal company rich. You're not making some state agent government rich over there, who wants to do things to your country. So that was a good point. Anyway, I didn't mean to get off on that tangent, but
we were watching a Real Patriot yesterday because we watch videos with people of all different mindsets, and
right.
We may or may not pick up things when we watch them.
Right. Well, the thing is, he was a real patriotic American, and he said, one of the things, and Marianne and I had also hit on this. When we talk about Tesla and you tell people it's electric, you need to stress that
it's American,
American made, because as far as they know, Teslas come from Mars, because that's that Martian guy.
We're not kidding. It's actually, you go around and ask 10 people off the street who makes Tesla, and I bet they can't tell you.
That's right.
Even here in the Triangle, I bet they can't tell you.
So if you talk, when you talk about Tesla, you need to mention for sure that it's an American-made car in Fremont, California, Reno, Nevada.
Employing American citizens.
Yeah, certainly there are aspects of the car that are imported, but that's true of every car. But at least the majority of the Tesla is made in California.
Yeah, the guy we were watching yesterday, he threw up a slide showing that even if you account for the parts that Tesla imports, it's still more American than GM and Chevrolet and Ford.
All those.
So we maybe tonight, if I can remember, we'll put that slide up. But it was it's an important point, right? Because for years people have been saying buy this or buy that because it's American or not. So
this is just yet another misunderstanding of people. They don't get it. They don't understand electric cars yet. It's new. The world is changing when we get autonomous cars. So the gas tax, the road tax, they're going to have to revisit, because you're talking about even non-electric cars. You talk about gasoline cars with hybrids, not the plug-in type, just regular. You're getting over 50 miles to a gallon of those. They're not paying very much in gas tax either. And yes, they're lighter weight cars, but that's what I'm saying. There's got to be a formula that's equitable. And I guess as an electric car owner, you're just gonna have to suck it up, and all the other good that you do, because you drive the local air pollution, particulate matter, all these other things. That was another thing that guy said. You see, when you drive your gasoline or diesel car right into the city center that's densely populated, has a lot of cars, you're carrying your pollution with you. He said, it may not be good, but it's still pollution, but at least your electricity pollution is usually out in the boonies, and there's not very many
Sharon
people
Harris Nuclear or whatever, they out in the middle of nowhere.
Yeah, there is no pollution, and it gets me back to my point is we really need to be thinking about this stuff.
Yeah.
But anyway, hopefully I'm actually going to try to email my representative, because the other part of this thing is there's a bill that Duke Energy is trying to get through that hasn't died, 559 or 549, and it allows the Duke Power Company to raise rates annually without going through the Public Service Commission. It's sort of one of those, we raise the rate and then we'll tell you about it, and then you can undo the rate if you can type bill. So we need to probably say that's not the right way to approach that either.
Yeah. I guess I just wanted to add that, we're not upset if the 230 goes through. We're obviously not happy if it goes through, but we're not upset about it. We're just sort of reporting on what's happening and watching. And I guess if they could come up with a fair calculation for everyone, plug-ins, all electric, whatever, that would be the best. Obviously, then some flat fee that in this case appears not to have any mathematical or data merit behind it.
Well, I hope you know, if they want to do something, is I hope they'll use the data from the NC Clean Energy Center, and they'll at least say, well, look, it's not justifies raising it to 200. We've got justification to say that the 130 is reasonable. And maybe we ought to add the one
a
for
small
the
plug-in fee, but not try to kill them.
Not try to kill them.
Yeah,
either.
just start somewhere, $20 a year or something, and move up. I don't know.
They'll get a little bit of a win. Whoever, you know, the oil companies or whoever's backing this bill, because they obviously it's in fact, you know, it's just like I always like this thing. Well, you know, we did that because this is the safe thing to do. Well, you know, they use these cockamamie excuses. They're really just, I would actually say the motivation behind that bill isn't truly the road tax. It might be, but I would go just as far as to say is that that's a fee that people who are elected officials who revolve around the oil and energy area, they don't want to encourage electric cars. You know, who knows? They may be people who fight Duke Energy and they're anti-Duke. So electric car people, you know, I don't know. But I'm just saying is that I'm sure if they are reasonable people that the $230 at this point in time is not it. Not without reconsidering a punitive type of tax on other motor vehicles.
There he is.
Hello.
As Johnny and I were heading down and out the driveway, the UPS guy was blocking the driveway actually, and he had put our very large, probably 40-pound subscribe and save box on the ground. And he says he was on the phone with his supervisor to see if it was safe to come down his driveway because he was in the extra large truck and he just didn't know if there's a place to turn around. And I get that. But don't leave my box at the mailbox. You either gotta haul it to the house on foot or come up to the house with it. One of the two. Some guys, they run it up. They don't want to mess with turning around. They run it up. I tell them there's plenty of room to turn around. But anyway, he put it in the back of my car and we brought it back up to the house. And now we're headed out for the second time. So Johnny and I are headed to the Bog Garden in Greensboro. It's the place where the guy on the bridge yesterday at Jordan Lake said there is a barred owl's nest and the owls are really easy to see. So that's where we're headed. I'm probably going to swing by the Greensboro Supercharger for 15 minutes or something. It's pretty close, as you can see, to our destination. So it just kind of makes sense to pick up a little charge. But we'll see where I am and how much time we have at the end of the day. And we are going to take 421. It should be a fairly scenic route. There's a 35-mile-an-hour speed limit. And Ruby still doesn't know what the speed limit on Burt Road is over here. We're still really close to the house. It's kind of frustrating. I understand if she's not reading them, but why would not the database have it propagated? And for that matter, why can't I as a driver try to help populate the missing parts of the database? This truck in front of us carrying bricks, it's not making my day out here. He's, you know, having to be careful on this narrow, twisty, hilly road, and yeah, I'm just having to wait it out for the next 7.5 miles. So we made it around the south side of Pittsburgh without actually going through Pittsburgh. And next stop is Siler City, where we'll pick up 421 North going up to Greensboro. Other than being behind the brick truck. And I get it, he needs to use the road too. It just wasn't as fun a drive out there in the country. Everything is smooth sailing. Greensboro is not a small city. I wonder if it's the third largest city in North Carolina. I'll have to look it up. So we circled this block, what, 4 times, Johnny? Trying to figure out where to park because there's no official parking for the Bog Garden. There's 2 entrances we saw. So we're gonna have to get out and walk. We're gonna have to walk from where we are. You can see the red triangle to about here where there's an entrance. There's another entrance down here, but there's also one here. It's actually a pretty small area, so Wish us luck on seeing the owls for all this effort. This parking lot's not very full, and a lot of people make use of the fact that there's like a space next to the post, but nobody can really fit in that space except for a motorcycle. Yep, here we go. It's a little bit more of a walk over there than we want, but it's a sidewalk the whole way and it's in the shade. At least when we get up there to that
I
stop
told
sign.
Johnny this is where I need for him to be able to drive. He could have dropped me and my equipment off like Mr. Don would have. Gone over to the shopping center, got him a cold beverage, and then came back when I called for him. He says he's ready for that too, just like I am. See, sidewalk in the shade. I talked to a nature type person who was walking through, and they gave me a few tips. Primarily to look for the lady with the long blonde hair because she always knows where the owls are. All right, we're here. Like most parks, sunrise to sunset. I had promised Johnny it was in the shade. It's in the shade. There is a boardwalk spot down here by the water though. There is a large body of water here, which is probably why the owls are so happy. Well, Johnny, it's almost like we're in the mountains. This is a man-made recirculated little stream here, and they've done a lovely job. They have. It's really nice. I wonder how many, trying to think, gallons per hour. I wonder how many pumps and how many gallons per hour. Not sure if I said, but it's really 79, 80 degrees here today. It's nice, and it's especially pleasant in the shade, so I do think we picked a good day to come. Well, we found where the mallard ducks like to look for food. These are all males. I count 1, 2, 3, 4, I count 6.
There's more on the other side.
And there's more on the other side of the bridge. The statue is Dr. Joe. Looks like the kind of guy I would like. He's got a shovel in one hand and a plant in the other. Johnny spotted a really cute little chipmunk. Hi, buddy. Hi. About what you would expect to find here. Talking about invasive plants. I was surprised to see leatherleaf mahonia and this fig buttercup. I knew about Nandina. Even the Italian arum, I did not know. And they've been trying to plant natives. Okay, look at the bark on these two parts of this tree, and then look at the bark on this tree. It's the same tree. This is a yellow-bellied sapsucker, and it's not just a couple of rings in a small area. It literally goes all the way up the tree and even out on the bigger branches. I don't know my freshwater fish, but Johnny has seen a few almost see-through, sort of very light-colored fish in there.
Probably minnows.
I see a really pretty dragonfly sign asking people to respect the owls. I still have not seen the quote-unquote owl box yet. I'm spending all of my time here looking up, trying to spot the owls. I wish we weren't hearing that construction noise. So we found where the owl box is, so we'll know for next time. It's sort of right up against the fancy neighborhood to our left, that side of the park. The owls have fledged this year. There's only one brood, for, as I said before, for these big birds, but usually there's one or more in the trees around the box area. I'm just not seeing them. You know, they're made to be camouflaged. If I don't get a picture, I will pull one off the internet that someone else took, because there are a lot out there if you search on Bog Garden Barred Owls. Well, you can certainly understand why this location has an abundance of birds and other wildlife, because of the, you know, really nice water in through here. This magnolia. At least I think it's a form of magnolia. It has pink flowers, and it's not one of those saucer magnolia varieties. It's something else. It's very pretty. Well, the place where we need to head back to is on the other side of the water over there, so not too far. I wish the heron would have caught a fish for me, but I enjoyed thoroughly watching him and his antics of what would we call it, sleuthing, slothing, I don't know, meandering through the water and on the hunt. Johnny wants to know why the blue heron gets to fish if nobody else does. Ha ha. Just saying, when this blooms, it has a little orange flower, and hummingbirds and butterflies love it. So, just saying, I bet there's a lot of hummers in here when this blooms. This is a beech tree. Very old. Has a few names carved in its trunk. Because of its very flat bark, unfortunately, it often suffers from people carving in it. I need to look up when the event starts, but this week's Pokemon Go event requires that you spin Pokestops you've never spun before, and that pretty brick piece of artwork there, this is a junior achievement building, is a Pokestop and one I've never spun. Yeah, we would come again for sure, and the parking really is okay down here in this deck to keep your car nice and cool without having to run the climate, and yeah, we're good. So there's a Chick-fil-A within what, about a mile of where we were parked. It's basically in the shopping center across the street. If you navigate to Whole Foods or you see Whole Foods, you'll find the Chick-fil-A. This drive-through is apparently even more insane than any of the ones that are local to Fuquay, like the one in Garner that we almost just can't sit through. But I promised Johnny Chick-fil-A and I want a frosted coffee, so here we wait. I love the kids that work for Chick-fil-A anywhere you go, because they know what the Tesla is. They want one. They think it's super cool. They ask me if is this one of those cars you plug in? And I said yes, and then Johnny popped the charge. I put it in park and Johnny quickly popped the charge port door, and they was like, oh wow, that is so cool. I want a Tesla. So we are cutting it close on getting home. Look at the time, 4:36. Ugh. We really need to leave for Taekwondo at 4:45, and I wanted to stop and supercharge for 10 minutes, even though it says we're okay. Actually, it has us going back 40, and I don't know that I really wanted to do that. I really wanted to come back on 4:21. I'll have to do Google Maps and see if that'll be okay, which is really faster. Johnny says when they went to the mountains last week, they were at this Sheetz, but apparently they were on the other side and he didn't know it was the one that had the supercharger here in Greensboro. So the supercharger was about 5 minutes from the Chick-fil-A. It was really close. And I haven't eaten my sandwich yet, so I'm gonna plug in, eat my sandwich, and then we're gonna head on home. I did tell Johnny, you know, we were here when we went to the mountains. We charged here. Let's see if the wand today will open the charge port door. It did. Checking the charging cable, it looks to be in order. And plugged in. I am starving. Where's my sandwich? Starting to charge. We saw as high as 125 kilowatts. I don't expect it to go any higher because our state of charge is too high. Done eating, unplugging. Johnny walked our trash over and had some insightful information.
Half the trash in that trash can was Chick-fil-A.
Maybe we're not the only Tesla people that like Chick-fil-A. Shows us arriving home with 27% now. Unfortunately, too late to get Johnny to his 5 o'clock Taekwondo class. We really need another 20 minutes. There's a later class he can go to. So Ruby is going to navigate us back home on 421, basically the same way we came, which I prefer over going through Burlington on 4085 and through RTP, because by the time we get there, it'll be rush hour. Trust me, this will end up being shorter. I'm a little bit perplexed as to why Ruby would think it's shorter to go all the way down to Sanford and then come back up. That dip is not necessary, and that's not exactly how we came over, obviously. So I'm gonna not exactly follow that. Johnny and I finished up the book we were listening to at the end of the school year, and we can't recommend this one. It was a long book for 1 credit, but too much politics and not enough survival. Too many characters all over the country instead of focusing on the 1 or 2 characters that were actually of interest, that you sort of cared about what happened to them.
This book was read by Johnny Heller.
Yeah, can't recommend this one, unfortunately. And by the way, Google Maps on my phone is saying go the same route. I still don't know that I'm going to do that. But, yeah, to go too far south and then have to come back up, it seems a little wasteful. I decided to take 64 and cross Jordan Lake. It's a much better view. So Moncure is at the southern tip of Jordan Lake, and that's where the Jordan Lake Dam is, and oftentimes where the bald eagles are. So I asked Johnny if we could pull in. I'm thinking a 10-minute round trip down to the dam, look for eagles, take a couple pictures or not, and leave. So this is what the dam on this side looks like at Jordan Lake. Lots of people fishing. It smells like fish. I saw a great blue heron go by, and there are other birds here enjoying themselves too, but I haven't seen enough bald eagles in my life, and juveniles don't look like adults to know what I'm looking at. That, he's got them. I don't think that bird's big enough. So they're catching catfish here. That's the main fish they're looking for. Nice couple down there. Let Johnny pose with the fish they just caught. Johnny says maybe his friends that took him fishing in the mountains might like to come here. We'll let him know. I didn't know, but you can see Sharon Harris from here. This is the other side of the dam. God bless you, Johnny. Yep, we're still sneezing. We still got allergies. Wow. So this is basically the south side of Jordan Lake, where it ends, where it goes down to the other side of the dam here, and much more controlled. And it's a great view up here. You cannot go out on the cement walkway area over there where the dam control room is. That part is barbed wired off. But you are allowed out here. Really awesome view. Johnny really wanted to see the cooling tower today, so we drove a little extra so that we could come down Sharon Harris Road to get back over to the house. Johnny and I have been home long enough for me to warm up some Smithfields. A little bit for us, but mostly for Dawn, since Johnny and I ate so late and Dawn hadn't had anything since early. Johnny and my mistake today was not eating breakfast. I forgot to look when I got home tonight, but Ruby's at 29% currently. It seemed like what she said I was gonna get home at, and then I did a lot of extra driving to come down east of Sharon Harris instead of west side of Sharon Harris Lake, and also into and out of the dam and that sort of thing. So it seemed like I had either really good efficiency. I was at 350 watt hours per mile for the last 5 miles. That's not a long distance, but you get the gist. And so it just seemed like I had more. But what I wanted to say is that, you know, for me, going from point A to point B is like never going from point A to point B. I go from A to B and I stop here and I decide to take a picture there and I meander into here, and I did that today. You're going to see on the TeslaFi map. So when I supercharged, I just know my style is, I see something interesting over there, I think I'll make another 20-minute stop. It's just when I don't have to be someplace. And once we were not going to have enough time to get back for Johnny's 5 p.m. Taekwondo class, then I stopped caring about getting back, and I was like, yeah, I really want to stop in at the Jordan Lake Dam, blah, blah, blah. So I'm going to look at the TeslaFi stuff and I'll put it up, but you'll see on the way home that I really meandered quite a bit from it was longer than the route the car told me to take, and somehow I seemed to end up with even more energy than the car told me I was going to have. The other thing is that Johnny and I did use our Echo device in the car. As you figured, Charlotte is the largest city in the state, even though Raleigh's the capital. And Raleigh is the second largest and Greensboro is the third largest, which is what I thought, but I just wanted to make sure. I'm really excited about the great blue heron pictures I got at the Bog Garden today. It almost made up for not getting any barred owl pictures. And the bird in flight at the dam today, at Jordan Lake Dam, was an osprey. I could clearly see when I put the photos up on my computer that that's what it was. I don't think I got a really clear focus picture. He was moving really fast, and that 70 to 300 lens is not very fast glass. And I don't know that I had the camera adjusted just right for in motion birds. You know, I've been shooting the guys just kind of stationary up in that tree. So, but anyway, it was an osprey. So we didn't see a bald eagle today, but that's okay. I mean, the osprey in flight that we saw, that was pretty cool too. While Johnny exercises at Taekwondo, and he assures me that the late class, they have to run laps, which is not something they usually do at the earlier class, that he would be getting plenty of exercise. Don is out for his run. I set a lure over here at Destination Church, which is basically at the end of the shopping center where Johnny has Taekwondo. And I set myself up to watch the sunset, and I'm here on the back side of the church, just kind of incognito, and I may have had a short nap while I was sitting here. Oh, it was a good drive today. It was a good day with Johnny, but it was a long, you know, a day without any downtime, I guess, would be the way to look at it. That's how I like them, though.